Okay, welcome to Digital Thangka Workshop for our next tutorial. Today we're looking at drawing some skulls. Last tutorial we looked at bone skulls. These skulls are fresh. So what I'm going to do to save myself some time, I have 25 of these to draw. So what I wanted to do to save some time and also to show a little bit more of restoration work is I thought simply just to copy some existing skulls. So I found the best reference I could. There's all sorts of different styles for painting the skulls. Sometimes you see them upside down, sometimes they're sort of fairly disheveled. These ones are fairly organised. There's a little bit of injury here you can see, and a little bit up here too, but these are in keeping with the deity that I'm painting at the moment, and they're also an excellent high resolution example of a beautiful, beautiful Thangka of Mahakala. So I'll lead you through the process that I used to restore these. So my goal is I'm going to paint these 8 skulls, and I'll take each of those skulls, and with 8 I need to draw 25, and so by doing some morphing and mirroring them and alternating them, I can easily just have these 8 skulls drawn and then just duplicate them in various places around the necklace to give the impression that they're each individually drawn. I can do things like changing the colour a little bit, the way they look, the proportions, all sorts of things you can do to simply change once you have that groundwork in place. Another thing you might do is you could start duplicating just single sections, like different eyes, for example, and just distribute that throughout the 25 skulls to give the appearance that 8 are actually 25 discrete skulls. So let's get our layers palette up and I'll show you what I've already done, and then I'll start another layer and we'll go through that. Okay, so we just flip forward a little bit. I just completed another 2 skulls. I just had some people here, and I just had to stop recording. But in the meantime, I was doing some painting. So I've forged ahead. You can see I've got 2 more characters done here. This is where we left off on this face, and then we've just introduced this this character here who's looking pretty dapper. Very pleased with himself. Let's add another. So let's get our reference image back. So we've done that one, and that one. Let's do this one. This one looks easy. So again, I'll copy, Command C, and then Command V to paste back on. V for the move tool, and we'll paint this this bloke up here. So as I said before, first step is to just erase with a softish eraser tool. I think mine's probably at about 75% hardness. You don't have to be super accurate for these restoration jobs. And bearing in mind that these skulls in the finished Thangka will be, I'd be guessing about 5mm in size. So a lot of this detail that I'm adding won't actually be seen when they're shrunk to that size. However, when I have the opportunity to draw something, I'll always try and draw it at as high a resolution as is kind of practical, and then that enables me to, if any of these skulls are particularly good or I need to use them for something else, then they're always available at a high resolution. It's easy to make things smaller than it is to make them bigger. So if your source documents, your original documents are high resolution, then if I need to use these skulls for something in the future, they're ready to go. So I'll put in a little bit extra effort in this time, at this time, and it'll save me a lot of work in the long run. So just cleaning up that line now. It's pretty good. And the same pattern as last time, we're just going to reinforce the line work first. So to do that, I like to use, particularly if you're looking for a painterly effect in Photoshop, which I'll use pressure sensitive opacity and size. And just sampling colour from the original work. So with the brush tool selected, sample that colour. It's a little bit unclear what the artist has done here, but I think he's got a line coming down here into the nose. Just darken that line up a tad. He appears to have another line here, so let's add that. Let's see what it looks like. Just bringing that line up the outside of the face. Now draw the complete ear here, and it looks like it's going to be obstructed by some hair there. So if decisions like that come up, it's always best to, because the hair's naturally sitting on top, it's always best to paint what's there, and then you can cover over with the hair later on a layer above. Okay, I'm just going to refine the edge with the eraser tool now that I've got a better idea of where I want to go. And I can use that that layer that we're erasing now to generate a mask, which is why I'm just tidying up this edge now. So for example, when we do the shading on the final step, we can use that shape as the mask, so we don't end up shading outside of our picture. So that'll save us some time in the future, and we don't have to go around, drawing that shape with the lasso tool or something like that. Okay, I'll just continue adding some line here. So here we've got some colour almost approaching black. Okay, let's add some hair. So we'll go up to a hair layer, we'll select our hair brush. I'll do that in this other dialog box. Here's my hairbrush. Painting hair, you need to have the opacity set to pressure and the size set to pressure. And then something else that's very important for these little 3 pixel brushes, which is what I've got there, just 3 little dots. You need to have this angle jitter. The control needs to be set to initial direction. That's important to get otherwise when you change along with the curve, the hairlines will cross over and look messy. So this hair is fairly black, so I'm just going to go for black as our colour. And just continuing what the artist has done here. Okay, so just getting those little wisps of hair. And now let's do our underpainting. So again, brush tool, just want your basic round brush, selecting colour from the canvas. And we just want to flood the area with colour, so just being careful around the parts that we're trying to isolate. So I'm not, for example, this mouth is very well preserved, so I'm not actually going to repaint that. That's much better than I could do. So here, just pressing Command and click to get that mask up that I was talking about. Command H for hide. Now I can paint confidently to the edges. Okay, now just doing the last of that blocking in of that colour. Oops. And okay, so there's our guy. So we've made a little bit of progress. Now I'm going to clean up the eyes here. And the pupils are fine. I can just go around the outside of those, but I'll repaint that, that sort of red gradient that comes from the corners of the eye. And to do that little bit of painting, what I'll do is I'll just make a selection here with the lasso tool. Shift key will add to that selection. Alt key will subtract from it. So here I'm wanting to add a selection, so I'll put shift down. I'll hide that, then I'll select my brush tool, get the right size, make it soft as possible, pick a good red, and then we'll just brush in a little bit of that gradient there, just to restore what the artist originally had there. Okay, that's not looking too bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to correct what I'll do is I'm going to correct that the hair now. Now that I've got a better idea of what needs to be where. We'll get out our hairbrush, go up to our hair layer. And we'll just soften those up a bit. A little more mustache. A little beard. A little trim. Just soften myself. I'm going to actually erase there. Like that. I'll just work those lips. A little bit there. Make sure the picture is pre-crafted. You can see it's all weird colours coming there. Just fixing up that those areas of colour correction. Try and keep it consistent with what the artist may have done. Really what to add here. I mean, this artist is better. Not able to be so. I just need to write to copy artist's work, his other work. We don't feel bad about copying the masterpieces at all. I think my personal philosophy is that if there's a section I can paint better than something that exists, then I'll paint it. But if there's work that's superior to my own bit of draftsmanship or composition, then I'm quite happy to copy that work. That's in the interest of just reducing this. I can up to my own gratification as an artist, just to make it a little bit selfish, perhaps, to want to express yourself when leave your mark on the canvas. Maybe that mark isn't quite as good as people who were masters in the past. So that's my personal thinking. Let's just shade, and I'll finish off with the hair. So we're going to shading layer, so we'll just work on some really basic shading. This is very, very small, so don't want to shade in a way that is too refined, because it's not something that the artist could ever achieve. You have to imagine these skulls on the actual scale of the paint, the copying process only at 7 meter high. So if you go through and with detail, it looks odd because it's inconsistent with the width of the brush stroke of what the artist achieved in the paint. So just adding a little bit of shading there, erasing to the line of the nose. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Just a little bit more down here at the nose, maybe. Okay, now let's sort of shape the face a little bit. Work on the ear. Now just adding the higher surfaces. So just now using white, cheekbone, section of the jaw, bump, just the ridge of the nose, the flare of the nostril, and that's probably enough. Okay, so almost finished. Let's just have a little look at the hair, and then we should be able to sign off for this tutorial. Go back to our hairbrush. Select just a black. And what we're wanting to do is just follow the approximate thickness of the lines that the artist has already put down. And for my camera results, I'm just going to follow this sort of swirling pattern here. And this isn't too neat, but I don't think it has to be. These were any substantial size, it would take a lot more care at this stage. But you really just need to suggest a little bit of hair there. Just suggesting a little bit of hair on the edge of the figure there. Okay, for that, so just erase. Just erasing a little bit of pain there. That gives us a good idea of how we fall short with our hair. Just a few areas here filling. Okay, that's that. So there's 4 heads. I've got 3 more to go. This is, I don't know, it looks like it's taking probably about 15 minutes. If I'm not doing the actual talking, I can produce one in 15 minutes. So 2 hours of work, it looks like, to restore these skulls from the, once again, from this beautiful image of Mahakala And as I said, I can't paint better than that. That's just so perfect, so beautiful, and how these masterpieces age and become more and more powerful. In the little dots here that you can see, perhaps nectar from the practitioner offered to the Thangka. So beautiful to see. Okay, last thing. Here we are finished. We've done our 8 skulls, and I've just got them composited onto just a simple background there. But I thought since I've done a tutorial before, or a couple of tutorials on digital restoration, I've sort of sidetracked this project a little bit just to give a little bit of a demonstration on digital restoration. So if I turn off our skull layer, actually I'll have a quick look before I turn it off. So this is what I've got in the end. So that's just copying that original Thangka, and just trying to keep stylistically consistent with the original artist. And so that's come out pretty good. You can see here I've got these little flesh wounds there. So these guys, you know, in various states of disrepair. And sometimes you'd see maybe an eye coming out of the socket there, or other forms of injury. Here the artist has been fairly conservative, and I'm just going to follow that. I didn't want to have a lot of injury in the skulls, particularly because they're so small in the overall picture. This guy here is just, you know, a bit of damage there. And they kind of look a little bit dishevelled, yet dapper at the same time. So I'm pretty happy with how they've gone. Compositing onto our actual image, as though we were going to do a restoration. So here's our original. If I turn those layers off, you can see what we began to work with. Just, I would say a moderately distressed Thangka. Considering the age of this picture and the use it would have received, this is in fantastic condition. So the restoration job isn't too hard. Everything is there, all the outlines there. There's just wear on the paint, really. So let's have a look at our restoration. So there's a huge difference there between what I've done now and the Thangka in the background. So if we're only restoring a single area of the Thangka, this would be incorrect. So we need to bring it back so that it's still looking authentic yet restored. So to do that, it's quite simple. It's just a matter of reducing the opacity of the layer until we get enough of that original damage showing through. So around there. So you see that just sunk right into the background just by reducing the opacity of that layer. So I'll do that again. I've got it at 70%, so that's fully restored. And there it's dropping down. 70% looks about right to me. And then turning those layers on and off. You can see the work. So whether that's an improvement or not is debatable, but in terms of working to preserve Thangkas that are severely damaged, I think you know, the digital process is wonderful, because if someone owned a very valuable and precious Thangka, you kind of don't want to be you know, sending that off to an artist and getting it restored. You know, the blessing is in the age and the wear and where it's been, and all the prana of all the lamas that have sat before it. So especially the, you know, the Thangkas from old Tibet. So I think there's a a happy medium to be struck where if someone owned a very beautiful Thangka and they wanted it brought back to some of its original intensity, then a copy can be made through a large scan or a photograph. Then it can be restored and printed and brocaded. So then you would have your original untouched masterpiece and a restored version printed on canvas, which would be a beautiful exercise to go through. It would be a lot of work, and as so far no one's shown much interest in it. But I think maybe in the future, if any of you are attracted to that, you could certainly work on your processes and develop it and present a restored Thangka to a museum. Might be a beautiful thing to do and a wonderful learning experience. I think if you restored an entire Thangka, you'd learn so much in that process. So it'd be a very valuable journey to go on. So that's it for this tutorial. Once again, there's our restored version and then the original version. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that someone decides to take up this process of restoring Thangkas. I think it'll be a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. So if you're interested in it or you need any help, please contact me and I'd be happy to help out with that in the future. Okay, happy painting.